What's up everyone? In today's video we're going to talk about modern bootleg rap design. This is basically blending the old school with the new school using modern techniques inside Photoshop. So I'm going to have a ton of tips and tricks for you guys, and there's going to be a bonus free download at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Let's go. What's up everyone? So first of all, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers that are here and everyone who is already subscribed. We just hit 500 subs, I think yesterday or the day before. Huge milestone for me, for this channel. I really appreciate you guys and how this channel has grown. It's been super dope, so thank you for being here. So in this video today, I'm basically going to cover something that tons of people have commented about. I've gotten a few Instagram messages about as well, and it's basically this style of what I call modern bootleg rap design. So it's basically fusing elements from what you would consider authentic, like 90s bootleg style shirts with newer styles, and yeah, just mashing them together, and the result is pretty cool. So I wanted to cover that today. I think we can jump right into it, so let's get into my computer. So what I'm looking at here is basically just a Google search of Frank Ocean bootleg shirt. I typed in Frank Ocean because that's honestly like what I see a lot of. Obviously he's a contemporary artist who there wouldn't have been authentic 90s bootleg shirts of him available. So people are just like throwing these together and just sort of creating this whole new vibe. So you see this one's super colorful. It has a lot of the same characteristics of an authentic bootleg shirt, cut out objects, big text, things like that. But you'll notice that these examples have fonts that are used that are not necessarily like 90s, 80s fonts. Well, here's an example of actually someone using 80s and 90s fonts, but the photo itself is pretty saturated. There's no vintage texture on it at all, so there's no real attempt to make it look like it's from the 90s, which is like a big difference. If you watch any of my bootleg videos, I'm basically trying to show you guys how to make these look as authentically 90s as possible, and that's not the case here. So another example is this dude, Merino Morwood. I was not knowledgeable of this person before I started seeing a bunch of people commenting on YouTube, when are you gonna do Merino Morwood? Can you do a tutorial? I was hesitant at first just because a lot of the techniques, I'm assuming, that I show in my videos are the same thing that Merino Morwood is doing. So I didn't really feel the need to do a whole tutorial about it. But, one thing I did notice is that they're sort of doing this newer style of bootleg design, which is like, a lot more saturated in their photos and general imagery. Some of the effects that are being used, the fonts, like in this Travis Scott example, this is not, a traditional 90s, 80s font, but it still has that overall like bootleg feel, right? So like this one, crazy effects on it, really cool text going on here. So, not something that, maybe you'd see this in the 90s, but like, it does differ, I think, quite a bit from the real like desaturated sort of 90s bootleg stuff. So let's jump into Photoshop so I can show you guys what's going on. So this is basically what I put together, just to show you guys a few techniques that you could use if you want to create this modern style of bootleg tee. I chose Kid Cudi because it kind of felt like I think a lot of my viewers are, you guys are 18, 19, 20, maybe like mid 20s, something like that. So Cudi might actually be like an older artist to you guys. So I thought it would be cool to like show you guys sort of quote unquote like a throwback artist using this newer like bootleg style. Even though obviously Cudi is like still putting up music these days, it felt like the right artist to use for this. So let's get into some of the effects that I'm using here. So first of all, for the actual images of Cudi, all I did was go on Google and search Kid Cudi PNG, and I think I searched by large image. And that's something I just did for the purpose of this tutorial, because I have already shown you guys how to cut out photos in at least 1 or 2 tutorials on my channel. So I just want to skip over that. You guys know how to do that already. And also, if you just want to get practice and get better at doing this style of t-shirt, there's nothing wrong with just searching, you know, whatever artist PNG, or, you know, whatever person you want to put on your shirt PNG in Google. Sometimes you'll get some good results, sometimes you won't. I wouldn't recommend, if you're serious about doing shirts, you know, using that method, because you're just going to end up using the same photo as the next person who also does a shirt with whoever on it. So it takes away from the uniqueness of your design. So this is just for the sake of this tutorial. So let's say you have, you know, your photos cut out and you want to add this white outer glow, which is something I found quite a bit when I was looking at other examples of this sort of modern bootleg style. So let's take a look at how I did the white glow on this main photo, right? So I'm going to remove the glow that's on there currently, and all it is opacity is set to 100. You have outer glow checked, it's right above drop shadow in your blending options, or not your blending options, your panel of effects. And I have opacity set to 100. I don't mess with the spread at all, just size. Usually I would recommend using softer for the technique over precise. For this kind of stuff, it just is gonna look better. It's gonna create more of an even sort of fading effect or gradient. So that's what I recommend here. You can mess with the size to your liking, you just use your eye. But one thing you'll notice is that on the bottom and on the right side here, it looks really weird because it just goes to white and then it like cuts off. So it doesn't look organic or natural in any way, right? So what I recommend is duplicating the main image and turn off the outer glow on the top image, because we're just going to be dealing with this one, and take the fill down to 0. So that will basically remove the photo aspect of it and leave us just with the effects we applied, which in this case is just the outer glow. So once we have that done, we can rasterize layer style on our glow layer, and then literally just take the eraser and just get rid of the stuff that you don't want. So like all this at the bottom and on the side, you can just get rid of it and try to, you know, make it as natural as possible, you know, so it just kind of blends in seamlessly to the bottom, right? So that looks way better, you know, than having those hard sort of edges on the side and the bottom. That's exactly what I did to this one as well. So that's a pretty simple trick, and you know, it just adds a little bit extra to the photo element of the design. The next thing I want to cover is the overall saturation of these photos. I did bump them up a little bit. Let's convert these to smart objects so I can show you guys this. So if you're pulling photos from somewhere, or you know, whatever your source is for photos, if you're using multiple images in one design, I recommend really trying to match the saturation of the photos, unless you're trying to do like a vibe where like this is like clearly black and white and you know, you've got a color image, and that's a whole vibe in itself. But if you're dealing with all full color images, if one is like kind of desaturated and the other one is brighter, it's gonna look weird. So I really just did my best to look at these two photos and tried to match, you know, the skin tones and the saturation as much as possible. If you need to tweak the hue, you know, you can always do that as well. If for some reason, you know, one photo has his skin looking more like orangish and one has it more like yellowish, just tweak the hue and that'll get you to where you want to be. So that's my second tip for this. So this little UFO, I'm gonna show you guys where I got this, and I'm gonna show you how I did this like motion kind of vibe here. I'm gonna try to refrain from saying vibe the rest of this video. It's gonna be tough. So yeah, same thing, man. I just Googled UFO PNG. I can't 100% say that this is copyright free, but if you search for this stuff and a website comes up and it's like, you know, like this one, pure PNG, and this one says free PNG logos and fave PNG, I've found that they're generally safe to use. I'm not, you know, a lawyer, so if someone sues you, don't get mad at me, but I'm, you know, fairly sure that you can use them. So in that case, I just literally dragged it to Photoshop, did Command A, that grabs everything, Command C, and then I just, let's get rid of this UFO for now so I can show you guys from scratch how this works. So then I hit Command V to drop it in here. I right away changed it to a smart object so I could resize it without like compromising the resolution really. And then I just sort of sized it to however I wanted it. That looks pretty good there. And then I hit Command U, and that's because I wanted to make it a little bit more saturated so it matches sort of the rest of the saturated images here, or the level of saturation rather. So I just bumped it up a little bit. It already has sort of a blue tint, so I'm messing with it a little bit, but not much, just to kind of match these background clouds and lightning. So that's all I did there. In order to create that blur, you can do Command J, which duplicates the image. Let's just change this to UFO. And we're gonna change this to blur. Let's call it UFO blur. So go to filter at the top here, blur, and then motion blur. And essentially what you're gonna wanna do is match the angle to the object. And obviously this is what I'm showing you guys is just like a unique situation where I want a flying object, but I just figured it would be a nice like bonus to kind of show you guys how these little you know, sort of extra images can really add a lot to the overall composition. So yeah, I just matched the angle of this motion blur to the object itself, right? So it's sort of tilted. I found that, yeah, about 15 degrees works pretty good. Hit OK. And then I just moved it over so you get the actual, it looks like it's moving in from the right side, right? So that's all I did there. And you can just kind of adjust it however you want it. You could lower the opacity if it's a little bit too intense. In this case, you know, 100% actually looks just fine in my opinion. So that's how I did that. And just sort of bumped it down a little bit there. That looks pretty good. So that's our UFO. Oops, UFO example, boom. So the next thing I want to cover is this text. This is about as basic as you could get in terms of effects. You know, it's just a simple white to red gradient, little stroke. I think it's at you know, like 8 or 10 or something. Let's see what the stroke is. Yeah, 8 pixel stroke. Very simple drop shadow, nothing fancy. But I wanted to show you guys some bootleg rap, like modern bootleg rap text presets that I put together the same way I put together those presets for the like old school looking bootleg shirts. You guys seem to really like those. I've had a bunch of people comment about them. I've had some people download them, and it seems like they've been really useful. So I've also had people requesting me to make more. So I went ahead and put together 15 presets of bootleg text, and you can download those on the website. I have them up for $5, the same as all the other stuff. I'm not changing those prices. People seem to be pretty happy with it at $5, so if I'm happy, or if you guys are happy, I'm happy. So 5 bones for that. If you want it, you go through here, add to cart. You get a download link immediately after you pick it up. And I'll show you guys how to install that really quick, because there does seem to be some confusion about how that works. I thought I'd explained it pretty well in my original video about bootleg styles and using these kinds of files, but maybe not. So I'll just do it again here. This is the file that you'll get when you download this. So you basically just drag it from wherever it is on your computer, drag it to the Photoshop icon at the bottom, and just let go of your mouse on top of the icon. Don't drag it to it and then like drag it off without releasing the mouse, if that makes sense. So that's how you do it. And as you saw, like nothing happened. There wasn't like a prompt that said this file has been successfully installed or anything like that. So nothing will happen. But when you go into your text, you double click on your text layer and you go to styles, you'll see that there's a folder with everything in it. And I just installed this now. There was nothing in here prior to me doing that. So if for some reason you can't drag the ASF file to the icon, if it like doesn't install, you know, I don't know if maybe like in the older versions of Photoshop that's not an option, or if in Windows it's not an option. The old tried and true method of installing it is just going into this styles panel and just clicking this little gear and going to import styles, and that way you'll be able to just import the file directly. And yeah, that's the most like rudimentary way to do it, but you know, just dragging it, I found, to the icon is pretty slick. It works immediately, so that's what I do. But hopefully you guys can follow that, and you know, I can save you some time from messaging me, and you know, because I don't like, I try to reply as fast as I can, but this will save you guys some time. You don't have to waste your time. You can just get right into it. Anyways, sorry if that was long-winded. So let's just get into showing you guys what I put together here in this modern bootleg textiles pack. So first one, we've got like a red brick or stone kind of style. It's nice and beveled, simple border, nice drop shadow. This is going to adapt to whatever color your original text is. So in this case, my text was red. Let's say if you had orange text, whoops, there, I accidentally changed it to white. Let's see if orange text, there you go. It'll adapt to that. So it's just one of those text styles that will just take on, you know, whatever kind of vibe you're going for. You know, if you were trying to match Cuddy's, you know, I don't know, his blue denim vest here, and you had the text in blue, you're gonna get blue stone, right? So that's how that one works. I'm gonna try to go through these as quickly as possible because I don't wanna waste your guys' time and make this video super long with this stuff. So next one, green money vibe. It's got an all over pattern of $100 bills. This is a super fun one. It probably wouldn't work great with Cuddy because he's not, I don't think, really about that life. But you know, this is more like a fun one, nice and chunky, sort of cartoony. It's got a nice gloss effect on it and a nice gradient on the stroke. Keep it moving. This nice sort of like liquidy plasma vibe with the blue sort of glossy type. This one I really love. This would actually work awesome with this design. Sort of like a moody, dark, fiery vibe, a little bit sort of like charred edges. This one is sort of, it's like lean inspired, honestly. Like it has like a purpley liquid sort of vibe. So if that's what you're trying to do in your design, this would work awesome for that. This one would work really well with this design because it has the blue already and the purple matches good with the teal. Nice gloss effect at the top, sort of looks like I don't know, sort of like candy, liquid, I don't know, sort of thing. Let's see, let's keep moving. This is cool. It's like a sparkly, shimmery texture with a nice gold to orange gradient, nice outer glow. This one, more of like the liquidy plasma stuff, nice outer glow in the yellow, going from black to yellow. With this one, with anything with a 2-color or I guess 3-color gradient, it's gonna work a lot better if the text isn't arced like this. So there's like an arc or arch, whatever, like to the text. If it was straight across, you'll see if there was no warping to it at all, obviously the gradient's gonna work a lot better, but still looks pretty dope, you know, in my opinion. So let's keep moving. I love this one. This is, I think, one of the few on here that has a 3-color gradient. So it goes from a nice like gold to strawberry to black. This looks pretty good to me. It's kind of cool too. It's got this drop shadow that's actually more of like a gray color. This was just an example I found online that looked dope, so I sort of tried to mimic it as best as possible for you guys. You know, you can switch up the gradient colors and do a lot of stuff to make it more unique. That's pretty easy to do. Let's keep moving. Got a sort of like an icy white and blue gradient. It's got a reflected gradient on it, so it goes from blue to white to blue. Nice sort of not too chunky of a bevel, but just like a nice raised sort of look to it. Nice white outer glow. Love this one. This is like a slime fucking green toxic sort of vibe. Awesome, like green glow. I like how the yellow it's a gradient, but you can still see some of like the green in the yellow, like at the bottom and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. That turned out great. This one, I saw a ton of examples where a Bape camo was being used. So like I saw a Nego bootleg shirt where he was using like the Bape camo. I saw some Pharrell stuff. Obviously you guys are not going to want to use the Bape camouflage because it's like trademarked and you'll get a cease and desist probably. So I just threw in a black and white camo pattern for you guys. It's a seamless pattern, so you can move it around. It's not going to change, and or it's not going to like cut off or anything rather. And yeah, nice yellow and white gradient on the stroke. Looks pretty good, pretty universal. This would work with a lot of different artists. You know, it's a little bit cartoony, but it could still have like a serious moody vibe to it for sure. Keep it moving. This is another like sort of iced out looking one. This one, the pattern, I don't think it's totally seamless. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal. Obviously, you just have to like move it a little bit. And you might do that anyways, just to like get it looking how you want it. So yeah, this is like an icy pattern. This is actually like, I think, diamonds in here. Nice blue, you know, sort of look to it, and white outer glow, a little bit of a bevel, a little bit of a nice inner shadow that's kind of softening up the look overall. And this one, kind of similar to this like red and yellow vibe. This would work awesome for like fucking, I don't know, if you were for some reason doing like a DMX bootleg shirt, I could see it working awesome for him. Super moody, like trippy, this could work for. It's definitely got sort of like a darker, moodier vibe to it. And lastly, I've got this one. So my intention here was basically like, I can't create a layer style that has flames coming off the text. That's just like not a thing. It's really not possible, to my knowledge at least. If I knew how to do it, I could probably be a millionaire. But I wanted to create something that sort of mimicked that style in some way. So I basically created a gradient glow of yellow and red that, you know, sort of resembles fire. The inside of the text has sort of like a charred effect to it, where it's, you know, some parts are yellow, some are red, white, and then the text is black. So it's sort of meant to have this charred, you know, like fiery hell vibe to it. So yeah, that's sort of a rundown of these modern bootleg text styles. So like I said, if you guys want to pick those up, $5 on the website. Super easy to install, and it'll make, you know, honestly, it'll just make your designs pop like that much better, and it's so easy to use. I don't know, I recommend it. So the next thing I want to talk about is background stuff. So this is where the freebie stuff comes in for you guys. I'm gonna have a link below for a download to 21 different backgrounds that I made. It's 7 backgrounds with 3 color variations of each one. And I can just run down these really quick. Sorry, I apparently didn't organize these layers, but whatever. So first thing I have is a lightning background. It's got like these dark clouds with lightning running through it. I've got it available in blue, purple, pink. So all of those will be at the link. Fire, I think I have it in red, or yep, red, have it in blue, and these will all be individual files. So all you'll have to do is open the PSD, drag it over to the, probably the bottom layer in your design, and you'll be good to go. Let's see what else we got. Little rock pattern, sort of like a rough wall sort of texture, purple, blue, and green. We've got this abstract texture that's sort of like a marble texture a little bit, but it's a little bit more, it's not as like veiny as like marble textures would be, a little bit like chunkier. So I have that in like a pink and a blue and purple. And water, there's a nice like water texture. This is like pretty organic, but then I also made one with purple and green. So all these look pretty good for Cuddy too, shit. Cuddy can fucking rock any color, bro. All right, so, this is the one that Cuddy would need though. There's one that's space, like right away, especially with the UFO, obviously. So yeah, I made a space background that's available in pink and like a goldish yellow, orangey, and teal. So all those will be in the download as well. And then finally, there's a plasma background that's just sort of like, I don't know if it's the same that I used in this text in some of the options, but it might be. It kind of looks like it. So that's actually, kind of cool, I think. It definitely feels pretty cohesive when you have like the same elements being used in different ways. So yeah, I have it in this pink, green, like teal. Actually, I think I call it seafoam in the folder, and then blue, which this looks like reminds me of like Nirvana for some reason. I think because of the Nevermind cover. Yeah, so that pretty much covers it. I did my best to sort of like cover as many different things that you could do in one video while not making it super long. And yeah, so like I said, if you guys want to download the text pack, it's right here. I'll have a link below. The link for the background images will be there as well. That's completely free. There is an option on the website where you can put in like $1 if you want. You can put in $5 if you're, fucking balling out. Put in 10, 20, I don't care. You can put in 0. I made these for you guys to use and to just kind of get you guys going on this bootleg stuff. As you know, my goal is always to just put you guys in a place where you have the resources and the tools that you need to not only make awesome bootleg rap stuff or bootleg whatever kind of stuff, but just to get you more familiar with how Photoshop works, because that's my bread and butter. So that's the whole goal with this channel. I want you guys to have the tools, the techniques to make awesome t-shirt designs. So that is it for today. I hope you guys found this useful. I really appreciate all the comments. I appreciate everyone who's subscribed so far. And if you have any questions, you can always leave it in the comments. If you have, maybe multiple questions or something that would be better suited to like DMs on Instagram, I'm always around. It's fuller.moe on Instagram. So you guys can hit me up there. And yeah, be sure to subscribe. I'm dropping new videos every single day. I don't know if you've noticed it all, but this is the first video with a new camera, so that's cool. And I don't have the lighting exactly dialed in yet. I'm still waiting on a few things, but I really wanted to get this video out for you guys this week and not keep you waiting. But there will be some probably small adjustments happening with lighting and all that. I doubt you guys care. So that is it for today. Thank you guys again for being here. Peace.